Hi, so my name is Kayla Bates, and I am doing a video presentation on stress and children's health. I just wanted to share this note here real quick. You can read it. It just basically says that I am not a doctor and I'm not giving any advice for diagnosis or treatment or anything like that. So I'm just a student and I'm doing a project. So to start off with, causes of stress for children. Um, some of them might be stresses that we deal with, but there are also some different ones that they have that we might not have. So expectations from family, friends, and school. Those are definitely some stressors that they would have. Just family expectations, to be the good kid. And expectations from school to have good grades, and expectations from friends to be social. And then we have the stress of world news, whether they hear it from family and friends or whether they hear it on TV. Just bad news that might come about, and stuff about politics can be very stressful for a young child. And then problems with self-esteem and self-efficacy. Maybe they are not very confident, and they don't really believe in themselves, like they should. That can definitely be a problem, just especially dealing with other people and being with friends and at school. Relocating is definitely a stressor. That was one for me. I know my mom liked to move around a lot, so that was hard on me. I know it. You get used to one school, and then you just have to move and basically start all over. So that can be very very hard. Marital conflict, foster care. Maybe feeling like you're never at home because you're always moving from family to family and never feeling like you belong, I guess. Death of a loved one, of course, that one's going to be hard on someone. And then domestic violence. There are different levels of stress. So we have the positive, the acute stress. Stuff like taking a test, meeting a new friend. Those are going to be some of the positive stressors that they have. One of them for me would be doing this project, I think. These are momentary or short-term stress. It allows for a moment of increase of the stress hormones, but it definitely passes quickly, and your hormones return to normal. So this is actually seen as good for the body. Then the next one is tolerable stress. So this one's dealing with an injury or a car accident. This can be very stressful. A difficult occasion, difficult situation that your stress hormones increase again, and it's for a little bit longer period of time, but they definitely when the situation is over, it goes away. And then we have the toxic levels of stress. This is very severe or prolonged stress, stuff like abuse or neglect. And this kind of prolonged stress can lead to mental, physical, and behavioral issues. Then we want to look at the impact of chronic stress. There was a study that I did, and it was not that I did, but a study that I looked over, and it was on 160 children. And the rest of the participants were the children's teachers and their mothers. The teachers and the mothers were given a questionnaire and were asked to rate the child's health. And another questionnaire was given to the mother to rate the violence exposure to the child. And the results showed that most children were exposed to violence at 65.2%, and most of them also showed signs of traumatic stress at 89.5%. And of the different health conditions that they listed, they were higher for children who had traumatic stress symptoms, and definitely the asthma and GI problems. So they showed an association between the two. And then other than that, there's really, probably lack of evidence there and some limitations, especially since the questionnaires were self-reported from the teachers and the mothers. And, we don't know if they were being 100% honest, and we don't know how credible that really is. Other than that, I did take a look at inflammation. It's definitely associated to childhood stress. So the more stress, the more prolonged stress, I should say, the more inflammation there will be in the body. The Dunedin study followed maltreated children until the age of 32. So they showed that these children grew up to 32, but also they showed higher levels of inflammation. And then this study also took a look at the hypothalamic pituitary adrenocortical axis, the HPA axis, and this is actually activated in the stress response. And while this is activated, cortisol is also produced. And with these long-term activations and productions, we see physical and mental complications. There's a possibility that the HPA axis can have some complications later on, and maybe even some damage because of the long-term activation, and definitely with the production of cortisol over a long period of time can be harmful to the body. Other possible complications, we see depression, of course. That one's pretty common with high levels of stress, self-regulatory problems. Cognitive function could be altered, and attention problems. We see an altered immune system, of course, the inflammation and increased blood pressure. There was another study that I looked at, talked about the hippocampus and the hippocampal region. And this study compared depressed patients. So it compared childhood maltreatment to depression, and it actually showed that the childhood maltreatment was associated with hippocampal or hippocampus atrophy. And the depressed patients, they didn't see it in them. So, and then also it talks about early life stress. So stress in childhood is linked to neuroplasticity. There was another study that talked about low levels of stress or reduced stress reactivity, and that can actually be associated with health issues as well. So a lack of cortisol production, a lack of cortisol in the body may lead to health issues. And I thought that was really interesting because I didn't think that low levels of stress would be harmful to the body, but it is also, linked to autoimmune disorders like arthritis and lower antibody response. And along with that, we see risks for behavior and substance abuse disorders. So tips for reduction. This is mostly for the parents to know, and it's definitely important for the parents to know tips to reduce stress for their children. So one of those being spend time with your child. Just being with them, that can definitely help them, make them feel comforted. Making sure they get enough sleep. That's a big one because, not having enough sleep can definitely, cause, behavior issues and, just overall just add more to stress. Talk to your child about stressors and help them find solutions. Maybe they just need some guidance, some help there, helping them find a coping strategy, maybe helping them find some techniques like deep breathing and mindfulness, just reminding them that it's okay, that it's good to take a step back and take a deep breath and just kind of, you know, be mindful of your body and find ways to just relax a bit. And then we also have make time for them to incorporate some playtime. So allowing them to be a child, you know, having that playtime, and preferably something active. We don't, just having them sit around, watching TV, playing video games. Maybe that's not the best option. Maybe going outside and doing something that gets their body moving would be a bit better for them. And then supporting them, having them supportive relationships. Make sure the child is getting proper nutrition. Of course, nutrition is very important. If they're lacking somewhere with their nutrition, they're going to be more stressed, definitely. And then if the child is showing signs that are concerning and they're not willing to talk to the parent, maybe seeking a therapist is the best option. So that's all I have. I know that was pretty short, but I hope that somebody can benefit from it. And I really enjoy doing this project, and I hope that it does well for somebody. So thank you.